A recent study done on behalf of the pharmaceutical industry by a major ad agency says that the additional stresses created by heightened economic uncertainty, we're all familiar with that, right? A lack of control over your finances, your job security, and so on, have led to an increased desire for better health as the antidote. The pursuit of not just health, but actual control over your life. One of the things you can actually do something about that you can own. As I said, our parent, GE, is in the healthcare business on a global basis, making not only imaging devices, but also healthcare IT solutions such as electronic medical records. Just as the launch of GE's Eco-Imagination several years ago was built not only on the introduction of more environmentally friendly technologies such as hybrid locomotives and wind power, it also came with a commitment to reduce GE's own impact on the environment through a reduction in emissions. This year, we did the same thing as GE in health, and we launched something called Health Imagination, a 5-year, $6 billion commitment to do 3 things. Provide a 15% reduction in the cost of health care, a 15% increase in access to quality health care on a global basis, and that means consumer access to health care, actionable health care information, and a 15% increase in the quality of outcomes. So where does NBC Universal fit into this? What's our role? It's really very simple, and I was over at WKYC this morning talking to the sales staff about it. NBC Universal has actually been in the health and wellness business for decades. We just never really thought of ourselves that way. As a company, we have a relationship with our audience that goes back to 1926. Think about it. When millions of people wake up in the morning, they turn to their local station to find out what's going on in their world. What's the weather? What's the traffic? What happened overnight here in Cleveland and around the world? And a huge part of what we do every week on both our networks and our local stations to provide that value to the viewer that I keep mentioning comes from people like Meredith Vieira, Matt Lauer, and Dr. Nancy Snyderman. They are delivering actionable health and wellness information on the Today Show every morning, and local talent in markets like Cleveland are delivering it in the newscasts that come before and after that. We're doing it at night in NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, with Robert Brazell. It's part of The Biggest Loser. It's part of Top Chef, when the chef talks about having diabetes and cooking in a certain way. We do it on Oxygen with yoga. We do it on all of our platforms. But the reality is our viewers have a relationship with the people that bring that information. We're credible, and viewers and users now online trust these people. So when we talk to advertisers about how we bring all that to life, this is how we show it. And I think you might be surprised when you aggregate it all together, this is what you get.
In health news tonight,
this has been called a miracle surgery.
For the first time in a decade, we're seeing overall cancer rates drop.
This morning on Autism Breaking Barriers, we are wrapping up our special series of reports with a story of hope.
We can learn a lot from the way heart doctors take care of themselves.
Now to some encouraging news, scientists may be a step closer to solving the common cold.
America's trusted source around key health and wellness issues is the assets of NBC Universal. And because what matters to our viewers and users matters to us, we're committed to their health.
Today calls it quits. It's our commitment to help those of you struggling to quit smoking kick the habit for good. For people watching now, Nancy, who say, okay, if I quit today, are the health benefits immediate, or is it something that takes 20 years to work out?
Within minutes of quitting smoking, risk of heart attack drops. Risk of stroke
right off the bat
drops.
For more on how you can quit, go to our website at todayshow.com and ivillage.com.
We take our relationship with our viewers seriously as a trusted source of information on food and fitness.
get the fat out of your diet and you'll lose weight.
Looking at the old me, I see someone who had no hope, someone who was lost. Now, I'm full of hope. I mean, there's no way anything's going to keep me down.
Chronic conditions and breaking health news.
Right now on MSNBC, a new landmark study on something we all think about, dieting. The study finds a number of diets really do work as long as the focus is on, here it is, calorie reduction.
Y ahí está ese gran minuto
de salud que siempre nos das. Gracias, Paulita.
Health both emotional and physical.
Ready? Let's work out.
Welcome to Oxygen. We're going to do some yoga.
You know, I'm diabetic, so I know how hard it is to constantly be eating healthier and thinking healthy.
We found that happiness can spread like a virus through social networks.
Our team of health experts are on call 24 hours a day. On air.
He said, it's cancer. You have breast cancer. Cancer gave me the gift of being fearless. What I get from this whole, horrible ordeal, I get, you can't scare me.
This year's Health and Fitness Expo may be the most successful yet.
Online.
A recent study showed that you can lose up to 50% more weight if you add an online component, like iVillage, Never Say Diet, these kinds of sites that are going to tell you, okay, look for the information.
For more information on online dieting, you can visit our website, todayshow.com, and join the iVillage community.
Out of home.
Why breastfeed? We've all heard that nursing is beneficial to both you and your child, but what exactly are these benefits? Well, here are some answers.
We're always there, in step with the times.
And there was other news on the statin front today.
Crestor, a statin, in a large trial, over 18,000 people, reduced the risk of heart disease and stroke. Statins are the medications of the future.
Whether it's reporting headlines or trimming your waistline, NBC Universal is your lifeline to better health.
So here's a staggering number. I think it's staggering for you. When we check the health and wellness content on both the NBC television network and on our owned and operated stations over 2 random weeks, it turns out that we're actually generating over 100 stories per week. And as part of our commitment to Healthy Imagination this year, we'll produce over 5,000 health and wellness stories. And as we head into the fall and H1N1 already is becoming a major news story again, that number is going to skyrocket. So we never really thought of ourselves as being in the health and wellness business, but it's clearly something that people respond to. The chief medical officer of GE said to me at the launch of Healthy Imagination, the way you get people to really pay attention is to put this information in entertainment content. Biggest Loser is a great example of that. I think it's going into its 9th season. So it is the value that the viewers want. It's obviously one of the most searched topics on the web. And what the advent of digital media has done, beyond the broad reach that we can generate with assets like the Today Show or NBC Nightly News, it's allowed us to not only talk about health and wellness issues that are of interest to a broad audience, but to engage users in scores of communities online. And these are communities of interest about topics that are compelling, and they're one-on-one conversations, essentially. They're people sharing their issues. If somebody has a child with a chronic medical condition, what they may want to talk about in the community online is not the medical condition, but how do I find a babysitter so that my husband and I can get out of the house because my child, has this particular condition and I can't find somebody I feel comfortable having stay with my kid. I mean, that's where people really get to share. And that's a capability that historically we've never had before. And that's what iVillage is really about. iVillage is about community, where people can share things and support each other. So we'll be talking about our health vertical in the next few weeks, but here's our vision of what we're going to do with that, branding it as an NBCU project. We want to be seen in the market, and we want to be seen as empowering consumers beyond what we've ever done, with timely, relevant, actionable information anytime, anywhere. We really want to let people get at this stuff across all the appropriate delivery platforms, including, as I showed you, broadcast cable, our local media assets. You saw some footage there from a local health fair, digital, mobile, and all the platforms yet to come and how people are going to engage with technology. The other thing we're doing differently, and this really speaks to managing the media revolution, and what those videos that I showed you earlier for TurboTax and Honda really speak to, is we are partnering with our customers in a much different way than we have in the past. Much earlier in their planning cycles, much earlier in our production cycles, we're looking for new revenue streams. We're now talking to customers not only about their media budgets, but about their PR budgets for a lot of you in this room, and finding ways to use those in new ways and creating new forms of content. I'm working a lot with some advertisers in the pharma business on new forms of content.